I put on a collared shirt for this.
Whoa.
So,
I feel so special.
I feel underdressed with the both
I have
of
a
you.
collar. Look at you, Rick. You're sad.
Oh, yeah.
Do you need your cashmere sweater or something?
Should I turn my hat around?
Hi, everyone. I'm Cami Chaos.
And I am Rick Turoczy, and we are mildly interesting people, which is why we always go through the effort of bringing someone far more interesting than either of us to chat with us. Who do we have today, Cami?
Well, I will tell you that in our little pre-show run-up, our guest today informed me that he is, in fact, not more interesting than we are, and that he's setting a very low bar. And I would like to counter that. I will say that when I met this gentleman, it was like he was your little bratty brother, and his name was Nick, which rhymes with Rick, and that's some really great kid naming rhyming stuff, even though they're not related. I did not know until much later the following three important key pieces of information that you need to know about our guest. Number one, he is a video game aficionado. And when we needed to buy a new video game system, we went to him. We said, what do we buy? We're old. We're out of touch. Tell us what to get. We want to have fun. Second, he is a spare ingredient auteur chef on the internet. It is amazing. And I found out today, every single video is done in a single take. And third, and most importantly, and maybe the one that I actually have a really hard time and struggle with a little bit, is that he is a Christian rock legend. And I'm not making that up. He is one of the founding members of a band called Falling Up and has had some great success as a Christian rock musician in his life. And I just think that's zany. Whoa, what? So everyone, please meet the lovely, the enchanting, the ever mind-boggling Nick Lambert.
Hello.
Welcome, Nick.
Thank you.
Say hi to the people, Nick.
I will do a quick correction on the band thing. I did join later, so I wasn't a founding member.
He's not a founding member.
No, I joined later.
I'm sorry, let me redo that. A tag-along member of the Christian Rock.
Yeah.
He's like, you guys are doing well. Oh, well, hey, what about me? Can I join?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, yes, you're not wrong. It was I was like, you guys want cooler guitars? And they were like, sure.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, cool. I can do that, I think. But
how do you go from being a Christian rock legend to standing next to me at a buffet for a startup event?
There's different types of legends. And I think we're all legends in our own elements. And honestly, my favorite type of legend to be around is a buffet legend. And that's really where I get my most joy. Yeah.
We have that one really amazing Thai food buffet. Do you remember, with the skewers and the wraps?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I had basically it was just a bowl of peanut sauce. And then I just put whatever, just dipping. So
is this soup?
Yeah. Right.
Yummy.
I've done that. I have done that where I was like, oh, this is a cute dish of soup.
Peanut flavored soup.
That's peanut sauce.
Yeah.
So I hate to start this off on kind of a low note, but I just want to get this out of the way. We've touched on potential siblings, we've touched on video games. Nick, can you just take us through what it was like being separated from your brother, Pedro Pascal, at birth?
You know what? I should have worn.
And wait.
Yeah.
When will you introduce me?
Oh, man.
Rick says it's okay for me to meet him.
I'm very excited to get to see you get a lot of comments of being like, what?
No.
Why? How? No. I should have wore the jacket that I got, that I was heavily advertised to on Instagram before the show came out, before I saw anything. And I got this jacket and I was like, dang, this is so good. And then when I was shopping for it, I was like, oh man, that denim would look really good under that jacket. So I just bought it both. And I remember wearing it one day right after I got it, and I saw a commercial for The Last of Us, and I was like,
Daddy,
hold up.
Hello.
And then an ad that day from the company I bought it from was like, buy the same jacket as Pedro Pascal from The Last of Us. I was like, oh my God. So yeah. I wish I knew the guy. Honestly,
is that helping your romantic cred? You said to bring it, dude.
I've had one I will let you guess which establishment of Portland this happened in, but I was at the bar and someone came up and just sat next to me and said, has anyone told you you look like Pedro Pascal? And I was like, I appreciate that. Like, that means a lot. I disagree, but I appreciate. And that then turned into a very, very awkward moment that I ended up just being like, I'm closing out and I'm leaving.
Goodbye. I imagine Pedro Pascal has to do that a lot when people ask him if he looks like Pedro Pascal. So I understand.
Right. When people ask him if he looks like you look like Nick Lambert.
He looks a lot like Pedro Pascal or his little brother, Nick Lambert.
I used to love this band called Falling Up, and you look a lot like...
like their guitarist.
Yeah, so weird. That bar was... Yeah, you want to guess? Which
Old
bar
Gold?
that was? No. Good guess.
What's that one down by the old pie office with the fancy cocktails?
Oh, no. Palomar?
That's a meat market.
Palomar?
Oh, I love Palomar. Is it Palomar?
Oh, that wasn't the one you're...
No, the one Teardrop?
Oh, Teardrop.
Yeah. No, it was Sandy Hut.
Oh. Sandy Hut.
I'll go ahead and provide a photo of Sandy Hut to overlay this so people can see what a fine establishment. Yeah.
Yeah. On the Palomar thing, there have been multiple iterations of a pie office, and Palomar used to be the walking distance bar that Rick and I would go to after working all day at the pie office that was in Southeast Portland. And
if you waited for the train, because it was the train.
Well, I ended up, the Old Gold thing, I'll let you get to actual questions here in a moment. The Old Gold thing, I became a regular there because of traffic. So early Oregon storyboard days, when I would leave OMSI, I was still living in Vancouver at the time. For the first couple years I was down here, and traffic was so bad going back that I would just get off at Killingsworth, hang out at Old Gold for like 2 hours, and then go home. Like, I would just wait for the traffic to go. But it was a much better way to spend my time than just...
Yeah, it's not a bad spot to waste a couple hours.
Yeah.
By all means.
A Washingtonian instead of an Oregonian, Nick.
Well, I was, but now I'm going to be again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm asking about both past and future, Nick.
I mean, I grew up in Washington, obviously.
No, I didn't mention that. So it wasn't that obvious to me.
It doesn't sound, I'm not giving off
you
Washington.
You have that real northeast Washington kind of accent I'm really picking up on there.
You're like a Gog lumberjack today. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up, most of my family is still over there near Spokane, if not in Spokane. Grew up out in the Palouse Hills. We were all wheat and barley and lentil farmers, and lived out in the middle of nowhere, and it was pretty awesome. And then we moved to the big city of Spokane when I got a little older. And then we had a stint in over by Seattle. We lived in Bothell for like 2 years when I was very young. My brother had like just been born. And then we came back to
there's
Spokane.
Another mini Pedro Pascal?
There is. Brian looks way cooler than me. He's got very long hair, really thick, good mustache.
Well, he couldn't be Pedro. I love Pedro Pascal's mustache, but the man does have a little scarcity. Sparsity.
That's where I fit in. But I lived in Seattle for almost 10 years before coming down here. And so obviously most of my life, I'm 40 now. So I was doing 30-year-old stuff.
You're that close to my age?
Yeah, I just turned 40.
He's very youthful. He's very demeanor. Yes.
I thought we had a ways to go until you turned 40. Good to know. Welcome to your 40s, my friend.
I did it. 4th decade. But yeah, and I've been Portland for 10 years, or this area for 10 years now, which is really wild to think about. And yeah, I felt it was time. We had a lot of unfortunate events kind of hit the family last year, all just kind of in a clump, and I wasn't able to be there for all of them. And then the holidays hit, and like 84 closed, Snoqualmie Pass closed. All my options really to get back home for the holidays were gone. And I think just time and me turning 40, which I thought was going to not be a big deal, became a bigger deal than I thought it was going to be. And I just felt like I wanted to be closer to family again. So, made that choice. Luckily, my job, which we may or may not touch on, but I'm at Autodesk now. I love Autodesk. They're great. They've been really wonderful.
Rick, I feel like you have not been keeping me informed.
They have been wonderful in making this move happen.
They acquired the Wild, and so Nick wound up with the job there.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. I forgive both of you.
None of my doing. It's all their talent. Like I didn't pull any Autodesk strings to get Nick a job.
No.
Now it's making it sound like you did. I think you protest too much.
Rick has pulled a lot of the strings in my entire career for the last 10 years, for sure. Like, Rick has guided me. He's also heard me be like, this was a terrible choice. And he's been a good venting wall and a really incredible mentor and teacher to me for a decade now, which is wild.
This is why I invite Nick on the podcast to just
I'm here to gas up Turoczy.
Give me accolades.
So much that this one time for Rick's birthday, who he shares with another person, Rick actually left the house. Oh my God, the anger face. Make it. It's so cute. He's so cute when he's mad. One time, because Rick loves Nick so much, we actually went out on his birthday and met with other human people in a bar in public, not in our home.
The enormity of that was not lost on me.
It was an amazing. I was shocked the entire time. I was like, what is that? We're actually going to do this? We're not canceling at the last minute? All right. Okay, this game. Let's do this.
I mean, I'm fine if this episode is just making Rick sheepish.
Let's not do that. But
we could. Okay. Let's make Rick cry.
Nope.
And we are, yeah. Anyways, so
I'm sorry.
That's been my story in a nutshell. In a very, very quick nutshell.
Will you tell me how you became a Christian rock legend?
Oh, I was going to go a different direction, but go ahead.
But this is where I want to go because legitimately, when Rick showed me your album, I was like, "That's so cute." Nick made a record, and he was like, "Oh, Cammy."
Oh no!
No, it's not that Nick made a record. It's that
that was the Kickstarter one, right?
Yeah.
Didn't you do a Kickstarter? Yeah, that I got recently.
So we did a couple. Okay, so long story short, basically, I formed a band with my friends in Spokane, right at the beginning of college, end of high school.
You weren't Black Happy, were you?
No.
Were you Black Happy?
No. No.
What was the name of the original band?
Paper Astronomer.
Paper Astronomer. That's a good band.
Which was super fun. And
I was like, "Are you guitarded? Were you guitarded?"
Yeah,
that was another one of my.
Bro.
Yeah, I was another one.
That's not okay.
But it was super fun, and we we were really lucky that we had like full-time jobs and we're still able to just kind of like play. And so we ended up opening for Falling Up when they came through Spokane on their like very first or second tour ever. And backstage, I just hit it off with Jesse, who's the lead singer for that band. And we just stayed in touch. And then over time, eventually they needed a new guitar player. And I knew this was happening. And I was like, dude, it's my time. It's my time. Bring me in. Let's effing do this.
Coach.
And
I'm ready
so,
to play today.
Yeah. And that's kind of how it happened. And it was like at the end of the record label era, which was probably for the best for me, because I would have really made it even more chaotic than how that ended already, which that is a whole nother story for another time. But yeah. And so right away we did independent releases, and we did a few shows, we did a couple festivals, and it was a lot of fun. And we were going to end on a specific album that we did. And then we were like, well, maybe we want to do, I think it ended up being exactly 10 albums.
Wow.
And we're like, maybe we want to do a 10th and just like make it a nice round number. So we did a Kickstarter. We put the goal like way higher than we thought anyone would want. And we're like, if we don't hit it, we don't do it. And that's great. And we continue with our lives. And we hit it very quickly. And we were like, oh, I guess we have to do this. But it was awesome. And it was great because like everyone was able to play on that, where the couple previous albums during the recording, it was pretty much just Jesse and I playing everything on those, which is hot new info getting out there. But
sorry,
for
it's spilling the tea, people.
But I think that's what made it, that final one that we did, like way significantly more special. Was just, we all got to record on it. We all got to play our own parts and everything. And it was awesome. And yeah, it was a fun era of my life. It's weird to think about that and the focus that we had then to where I am now and what I do.
Was there a time that you thought that was who you were? Like, is that?
Oh, that was the rest.
Like, I'm
the rest
Nick Lambert,
of Nick. Yeah.
Christian rock legend, and I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. Was there? I
mean, for sure. That was always like the younger me. That was always the goal, up until like not too long ago, like maybe 34, like 6 years ago. Which then I was like, I kind of want to have a sustainable good job.
I was going to ask what changed, but you're answering it. So,
and I think it just kind of ran its course. I think it just kind of hit the point of where it just felt like a natural point to move to the next chapter of our lives. Jesse still does scoring, and he's been working with a lot of stuff. And he's like,
hi, Jesse.
Yeah,
we're talking about you.
He's like a freelance audio director now. So people should definitely check him out. He's got a new website, jesserebordi.com. Go there. I love him. He's great.
We'll link it up down below. With
he and I stay in touch. We hung out a couple weeks ago. And there's something kind of in the works, and I can't say what it is or what it's associated with or anything, but there's been plucking of strings and recordings of sound waves.
You are telepathically answering questions.
So we'll see. Exciting. We'll see what happens.
Cool.
The timeline is very unknown, but it is things have happened to make it where it feels like it'll be a thing. So
is that
awesome.
Exciting?
Very.
You feel good?
Very.
Okay.
I mean,
Good.
If I moved my camera down a little bit, you'd see that I bought like a brand new recording interface.
I was going to say, I don't want to see. We don't encourage this kind of.
Yeah. If I just if I tilt it down, you'll see that I am wearing
not
wearing
pants.
Yeah. So absolutely fully clothed for this.
Goth lumberjack, fully clothed.
Yeah.
So Nick, like that brings to mind, like, I think people who perform, be it in athletics or artistic endeavors, there's always some point that you don't know it at that time, but it's really just that pinnacle. It's that moment. It's that venue. Like, is there something that sticks in your mind as a musician as like, I can't believe I was playing live at this moment, or I can't believe I was in the studio recording this? Like, what sticks with you from that experience?
Oh man, that's a really good question. I mean, live shows are always like such a highlight, and every single one, I would still feel nervous before we started. Like, and I think that was something where I never wanted to really get rid of it after a while. At first it was annoying, but then I realized that it's what really sets me up to be like, okay, this is an experience that is unique, and this is something that not everybody gets to do. And I think really embracing that as a whole, towards the end was, it was really important. And I think, but on top of that, probably the best feeling was just like getting that final album done and recorded and like out to people. And I think the reception of that album was very overwhelming. Like it was so positive, and like you always expect some critiques, and
right.
I always got a kick out of like the 1-star reviews of albums and stuff, because it was just like, you really you already bought it, so thank you. And then you needed out of you. And then you're just giving me like things to laugh about, really, at the end of the day. Like I remember wanting to print them out and frame them and put them on our merch tables, but didn't quite get full approval for that. But like, for that final album, I think maybe there was really only one bad review that I even found, and it was mostly, and I think it was like not a bad review. It was like, I can't believe this is the last one. This sucks. And like,
so sweet.
And that is, and I'm not like, please, those who are listening, I'm not trying to do this to be like, we were so fucking good. Like we're like,
oh my God, language, Nick.
We were the best. It was just a nice end cap for us of this era of our lives. And to put the amount of time and effort and emotion that we put into that final album, and to see it get like touch people in a way that was meaningful, was great. And that was the culmination of it all. It was like, that's why you do it, is you want to make something that people resonate with. And I feel we achieved it with that final album, and it was really special.
That's awesome.
I want to ask a pedantic question.
Yeah.
You released it as a record, as a 45. What was that all about?
Wait, say that question again.
No, not a 45. 45, did I say the wrong words?
An LP.
You released it as an LP, as a record.
On vinyl.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have the actual, like, the big square vinyl album in our home. Why did you decide, we basically live in the future? And I'm not complaining, because we have a record player. Well, I don't have a record player. Rick has a record player. We've got vinyl. Why did you decide to release it as an actual vinyl record? And Rick, edit out the part that makes me look stupid.
No, you didn't. I didn't hear the full question. Yeah. I mean, the amount of requests we got to do vinyl was unending, like constantly people wanting it. And we did a pretty short run. The problem was we had to make it so expensive to make the money back from it, which was what we were concerned about. But we sold out of them. And so, I think that justified the reason to do it. I will say, and someone in your, wherever they comment on here will probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I swear that I heard or read that this last year it might've been, maybe it was tied to Taylor Swift. Something about vinyl outsold CDs, either as a whole or for her album specifically.
Yeah. I cannot tell you. I wouldn't even be able to guess when the last time I bought a CD was, but it'd be more than a decade ago. And I bought records right before Christmas.
If we do another release of something under some name eventually, my push would be to do like vinyl and cassette. To be honest, I would love to release.
You hear that, Rick? It's
cassette. Tape. They are inexpensive to duplicate.
We might need to get a tape
do orders
now.
of. Yeah.
I thought you were like to knock off. I'm like, yes, they're very inexpensive to knock off. I did that regularly in high school.
Yeah. We're just gonna record it. We're just gonna put it through a little boom box and see, like one at a time.
Yeah. Nice.
So what I'm hearing is that at the age of 34, you decided your career objective was not to be a rock legend, and now at 40, you're like, maybe.
I think it's different now, and I would caution what any musician listening takes from what I'm about to say. We're at a point now where we can do music purely as Jesse does it as a career, but for the group stuff with all of us, we're at a point where we're able to do this as a hobby or something that we're just passionate about. Yeah. Obviously, yes, we would love to make money. But we try and put out stuff when we can, but we don't have any timelines that we're beholden to. And we don't have any we don't have to hit a certain level of sales to appease anyone anymore,
Right.
I have solo stuff that I put out every once in a while. Jesse and I do Gloomcatcher things that come out every once in a while. And
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, there's tons of these side projects that we have just kind of that exist in the interwebs. And
Gloomcatcher, just for context, is Nick's postal service. It's like stuff they muck around with on the side, kind of.
The postal service, like the United States Postal Service. So the band,
the postal service.
Oh yeah. Cool. That's
Thank
good.
You.
Though.
That makes a lot more sense.
That was good clarification.
Thank you. I needed the clarification.
Yeah. I mean, so there was a project that Jesse did a long time ago, with all of his own money and everything. Called The River Empires, and then Gloomcatcher kind of spun out of that with album or songs that didn't quite make that project, and and so at that point, I was annoying Jesse to play on all the things that he ever would do going forward, and so I ended up playing on the Gloomcatcher stuff over time as well, and that, honestly, that project is one of my favorite things ever. We did many shows throughout the Northwest as Gloomcatcher. And it was just an easy 3-piece. I mean, it was just low maintenance. It was just Jesse, Jordan, who did all the drums for us on those, and me. And, we would just pack everything in a car and go. And we would play these shows with much more well-known bands. And sometimes this is the arrogant side of me coming out here for this, but like
you're supposed to be super interesting. Yeah. So please be as arrogant as you like.
We would play some of these shows with bands that are like, they're way bigger, and they would just pull us in because they needed someone and they knew that we were playing shows. Yeah. And every once in a while we would play a set and I'd be like, oh yeah, we were the best of the whole bunch tonight, for sure. But we would just have fun up there. Jesse has such a meticulous method on how he wants everything set up for the vocals, because he takes it very seriously, and it's paid off. But his setup takes a very long time. And so Jordan and I would always just be like hanging out somewhere and just kind of waiting. And yeah, it was always super fun. And we'd get into mischief every once in a while. But and then we'd be like, oh, shoot, we have to play. And sprinting up on the stage. Like, we're good. Yeah.
If you're sitting in a coffee shop somewhere and someone says, oh my God, you look so familiar, why do I know you? What's your assumption?
Well, now that I've been in Portland for 10 years, I assume it's like pie related.
But you're leaving Portland.
True. But I've been here long enough, and Rick's pulled me into this community enough times that usually it's tied to something in the startup world, which is like, that means a lot to me. I've kind of fallen out of it a bit the last few years just because everything else got so busy. But that was like that is what gave me like a lot of joy and a lot of like a feeling of belonging here, was just this incredible startup community here in Portland. And more often than not, it's that. Very, very, very rare is it someone who recognizes me from music,
or thinks that you're Pedro Pascal's little brother.
True. And that was just like 2 weeks ago. So, right. But yeah.
Now that I know that you're 40, I will refer to you as his little brother and not his son.
And I can still remember Nick and I have known each other 10 years now. I had to look back through my email to figure out who introduced us, because I couldn't remember. I was like, I had some.
I remember who it is.
Yeah, it's Trent from Appleback, who saw you pitch at a thing, and my favorite part of meeting Nick, and this will lead to a question after I soak in nostalgia palm olive or whatever I'm doing. My favorite part of meeting Nick is we met at Barista in
coffee. For those
in the Pearl.
In the Pearl. And I'm like, I need to tone it down because this dude's really nervous. Like, he's shaky and he's like, I need to be careful. And later only came to realize he'd already had 20 shots of espresso at that point in time. It was just jittery.
Yeah.
But it was one of those situations where I'm like, he was so and remains so genuine and just like a fan of his art, that he was so genuine and passionate about what he wanted to do. And we're getting to my question, which at that point in time, it transitioned from the creativity of music to the creativity of video games and entrepreneurship. And he wanted to explore that space, and I was more than happy to help. And then, had the pleasure of working with Nick over the years on a variety of efforts. the question he finally gets to is, describe to me, whichever path you choose, either the similarities or the differences between being a musician in a going concern and being an entrepreneur trying to build something.
Ooh. Yeah.
Question.
So I think there's similarities and there's differences. I think it's fairly equal. The best skill that came from the music is learning how to coexist and work with other people in like a creative way. So I continue to think I get better at this as I get older. Some of my current coworkers might disagree, but it's hard to not think every idea is precious, and that every idea you have is the right one. And with the music stuff, it was easier with music because you play one instrument and I don't play the other ones. So obviously the mindset is kind of automatic of I'm going to do my part and everyone else is going to do theirs. I'm going to have opinions because that's just me. But, but like at the end of the day, they make the call. And so taking that and jumping to a startup, specifically a tiny little video game company, and not really knowing what we were doing, for me, I felt like I had to have a hand in everything and I had to like know how to do everything. But we also had other people in the company that thought the same. And so that was where a lot of the conflict kind of would come from. And I remember we were crunching at the end, like really trying to get this trailer put together for the big Pi demo day. And this trailer was like a huge deal. And because we had parts of the game done, but the parts of that game weren't at a stage that looked good for a presentation. So we from scratch built a whole trailer of completely new assets, completely new everything just for a trailer. And I knew how I wanted this trailer to look in my mind. I like knew the whole thing, and I went ahead and did all the audio and timing with the storyboard of it before it was even done. And so I was like, this is how it's going to go. And needless to say, it was different in the end, but but I remember Mitch sitting quietly in that when we were in the little glass dome
in the fishbowl.
Yeah. And I remember him just sitting in that corner quietly working, and all of us were in there just going at it, just at each other's throats. And just like, no, this is like, we can't do this. Like, this isn't how it can end. Like, and we all were just like, phew. Everyone just kind of stopped talking. And then I looked over and I saw Mitch there. I was all, oh, you're still here. and he just looked up and he was like, just get back. And I think that simple reaction was just like, this is normal. This is normal, to go through that type of thing. But over time, I had to try and get back to that mindset of like, okay, I am not a coder. I am not an artist. Like, and I'm here to do the audio, and I'm here to help with like a project management type of thing. But at the end of the day, I have to just trust that the people I am working with, and at that time, the people I chose to work with, that I chose them for a reason, and I need to just trust them to do it. And eventually, by the time we ended up doing the game Mayday, it went pretty smooth, and it was a much better experience for that, just because we learned so much in terms of how to work together in a creative world. And so I have a huge appreciation for that. Now I know people that work at huge game companies, and like, I get it. I understand that it's, these teams are huge. And now, especially with what we're building over at Autodesk, it's gone from a startup where we're all kind of in each other's faces with everything to, we really have our specific stuff. Like, this is our responsibility. And yes, it will affect, like, what happens over here affects us a little bit, and what we do over here affects them a little bit. So there is communication, but it's really just that letting go, and not like, I think that what I said earlier, just like my ideas aren't as precious as I think they are. And they can be to me, but that doesn't like override literally everything else.
Right.
So how does that contrast or compare with creating music? Because it sounds like you're making music again.
Yeah, I mean, it feels so much easier now. Like, so simple, I think that was, and I'm giving away some, which is fine. We have to tease it a bit, but like, okay, there was some stuff there was some stuff that was recorded, and it wasn't complete. And so I went down to add my pieces to it, and and it was so nice. Like, it was just like, yeah, this is my role. This is what I do. And, Jesse trusts me to come up with whatever's in my brain for what I'm listening to. I think it's different than a startup mentality with music. Like, I think music's just so much more fluid, where you do have there's checklists with startups. There's stuff that you just have to do. There's nothing I have to do on the guitar. Like, I can hit one string and one note, and then I can be like, yep, that's all this needed was just one note.
That's what I did.
Or I can like decide, no guitar on this one. I want to, play a melodica. So, like, it's just so, you can't do that with a company. You can't. Because at the end of the day, with a company, everything is meant to create revenue. Like, everything. And with music and where we're at, again, emphasizing it's as a career, it is different. Like, I have friends that music is their career, and the choices they make are creative, but at the end of the day, they have to be something that is going to be catchy and resonate, and it is a science on how you do that kind of stuff. But, we're just lucky, and we don't have to do that right now. Who knows, maybe in the future, but for now, we're happy just letting it kind of be whatever we're imagining.
On another purely not money-making venture, what the hell is going on with your cooking videos? Talk to me about
man.
Describe for our viewers and listeners a typical Nick Lambert cooking video on Instagram, and then tell us why.
So it all came from the pandemic, and I started making these videos early on of like, I think the first one I made was maybe like 2 weeks into everything being shut down. And that was when we thought it was going to be 2 weeks of everything being shut down. And like, little did we know it would be 2 years. But like, I I made a video which I just used the iMovie templates on the phone because I didn't even know those existed, to be honest. And it's a full
trailers.
They're crazy. Dude, yeah, it's so crazy. Yeah. And everything is there, and they're like, you need a 2.5 second clip and you need a 3 second clip. And it's and so I was like, oh my God, this sounds like it could be an absolute disaster, which is why I was drawn to it. And so I remember the first one I ever did, I was waiting to have like my time to go into a grocery store, I think, like, because they only let like,
you used to have to go wait in line to get
it was like 5 people at a time, but I had like a pull tab or something. And I remember I was just waiting in my car and I was like, I'm just going to film myself one long clip and then I'm just going to cut it up and put it in there. and that was what I did. And that was like my first update of the pandemic. So as it kept going and the lockdowns kept going, you can see me slowly starting to crack. Like I'm definitely kind of losing my mind. And I hadn't, the groceries that I had ordered were delayed. And so I like had hardly any food that went together left it was in my kitchen. And like nothing really went with the other thing. It was just like I have parts of a lot of things. And I was like, oh man, I should just pick a dish and just make it with literally whatever I have. And so the first one I did, I believe it was the taco.
I remember the taco.
And so and as you said earlier in the podcast, you know, I do it all in one take. I would cut, but every clip you saw was just that one take. Like I wasn't editing it. So, and if I messed it up a bunch, that was it for the food. I'd have to like figure something else out. But like I didn't have anything for a taco. And so I'm trying to remember the shell was just a slice of bread that I had. The taco shell was just bread. And I had like a single leaf of like iceberg lettuce. And, oh yeah. Okay. So that was it. And then I had only 2 other things. I had a mozzarella stick that I crushed up in my hand for cheese. And then I had, for some reason, the only like meat protein type thing I had was literally one single hard-boiled egg. And I remember I crushed it in my hand. I remember doing it and I had only one egg to crush. And so I really had to like stifle anything that was cracking myself up to get through that take. Because I can't laugh in the take. That's where it ends. And God, I just was thinking the whole time, I was like, this is going to really mess some people up. Like seeing me just crush this hard-boiled egg with my bare hand and then just eat it. Like just eat literally a like moist slice of bread with a leaf of lettuce, crushed mozzarella stick, and hand smashed hard-boiled egg, and just like that was my taco. And I did
it's artisanal,
man,
artisanal.
It really took off. It really had an impact.
Was there anything that you made during this series of videos that you were like, I am not going to eat that?
All of it, but I did eat it.
Yeah.
They were all bad. I did one of my favorite morning like breakfast dishes around Portland is the potato hash at Proudberry Coffee. And I was like, I'm just going to make that at home. And I mean, it was.
Did you have potatoes?
I had nothing. I had literally nothing that was the same. I'm trying to remember what I used for the sauce. It was, they have a sauce of like a base that's kind of underneath everything. I had nothing but applesauce. So I had like applesauce. I'm trying to remember what I didn't have, like, obviously I didn't have potatoes or like hash brown materials. I think it was noodles. I think it was like ramen noodles. And God, it was bad. It was really, really bad. The applesauce was what really made it horrible, to be honest. But I would take like a bite of things. One that turned out fine was a Pepsi cookie. The joke was I'm also like dumb in these, and I don't know what to actually replace things with. I mean, I did have water. I had running water. I could have just used that. But I was like, I have a liter for some reason that I never ordered. I don't know how I got it, but I had a 2 liter of Pepsi in my fridge. I was like, what am I going to do with this? I was like, I'll just make a cookie where the liquid base of it is going to be only Pepsi. Here's the thing. Honestly, it was kind of good. Like, it actually kind of turned out really good. Just mix it with flour.
Save that recipe for future generations.
Pepsi, flour, and chocolate chips. That was it. It was like, it totally worked. Just put it in a skillet. I haven't made any sense.
No. Just no.
It was, I feel like that was an era. I don't know if I can do it again. I feel like my Instagram videos have like segments, and they have a shelf.
It's like a season.
Yeah.
You did a season of pandemic cooking. What's the next?
Because then they're not funny to me anymore. Like, I only do them if they're funny to me. And like the joke only lasts so long for myself. Right. Who knows what the next one will be?
I need to ask you a series of 5 mildly interesting questions. But before I do that, I need to tell you, Rick, close your ears. You don't want to. Just.
Oh, wow.
Oh, look, you did good job, baby.
Oh, wow.
You're the closest thing I've ever had to a brother-in-law. And that's just like, my brain thinks of you as Rick's little brother. And it makes me so happy. And so just know that Rick and I are incredibly invested in your happiness and your life and your joy. And you are so loved and so accepted on home. Well,
thank you. That means the world to me. I mean, you two have definitely been like my Portland siblings here. So I love you both a ton. Here's the thing. Yes, I'm moving to Spokane, but like, I'm going to be back probably pretty often. And like, I'm still probably going to see most people the same amount that I would have anyway. Like, even with me living here.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Rick, you can get your headphones down. It's okay. Yeah. Rick, you can come back.
Oh man, you're right. I know, those aliens that we met. Crazy.
Okay.
That's the worst. That was like,
that's the worst cover.
That was juvenile.
We could have come up with any other cover.
You just lost.
To this later when he's.
I have to edit the episode.
Oh, you can't. You can't edit any of this.
I'll just skip that part.
Yeah.
Just post.
I'll come sit downstairs.
Post
with you.
away.
That was.
And when it gets to that part, I'll be like, okay, go.
La 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 la.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Nick Lambert, video game aficionado.
Yeah.
Spare ingredient outdoor chef. Christian rock legend.
Wow.
Brother-in-law.
Yes.
Are you ready for some mildly interesting questions?
I'm here for it.
Let's do it. Question number 1: favorite but least useful hobby.
I mean, shoot, probably video games. I love video games, but it distracts me, if anything, from things I should be doing.
Given your career, I'm gonna go with weird, but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Question number 2: would you like to survive the zombie apocalypse?
Yeah, I think so. I just like surviving. I like being alive.
Nice. That is very much a similar reason as to why I would like to survive the zombie apocalypse. I don't know. I just don't want to be dead.
I just choose life.
I've never been dead before. I know what being alive is like, so I'll stick with that. Yeah,
I'm okay
a lot of
at
zombie
being alive.
movies.
Yeah, I'm passable at being alive.
Question number 3. What is the last food that you photographed?
Last food that I photographed. I think it was the special I was at on, oh my God, what day was it? Was it Saturday? Yeah.
I don't even know what day today is.
At Karina up in Northwest. They had a special pasta and chicken and Alfredo. And I was just like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
And I took a photo of it that I obviously didn't post because spoiler, I'm not a photographer.
I should have dealt with my friend Tracy because she doesn't care how ugly food is. She just wants to see what everyone is eating. So I'll set you out. Question number 4. What is the best season?
Ooh, easily autumn, like fall, autumn, hands down.
My brother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Question number 5. Magnets or stickers?
Magnets.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Controversial.
Here's a quick reasoning behind that. I traumatized myself with stickers. The first guitar I ever owned was this beautiful, like, white Les Paul. And I got it when I was 19, 18. And for some reason, and I blame Weezer for this.
Don't we all?
They had
Weezer.
Yeah. Their guitars were just loaded with stickers. And I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I, for the next several years, proceeded to completely cover this guitar in stickers. And I did, for a long time, think that was the coolest thing that I could have possibly done to this guitar. I remember getting another guitar years later, and I was like, man, this guitar looks so good without stickers. And then I remember looking at my one with stickers, and I was like, what have I done? And because I remember what it looked like originally, and it was a beautiful guitar. I then spent 2 weeks trying to get all the stickers off. Some of these had been on there, mind you, for almost a decade, if not longer.
Because you're old now.
Yeah. And it was literally pulling chunks of this guitar. I mean, this guitar had been through everything. These stickers were like kind of protecting it. And I didn't realize how often I like dropped this guitar or like it hit something and all these things. And so as I'm taking these stickers off, it's as if the scabs never healed on this guitar.
No.
And it was like, I was just ripping these off, and I'm seeing exposed wood on the guitar. I was like, what's happening? It was very traumatic. I eventually got it all off. I had to spend a lot of money trying to restore and repair this thing. And I was like, never again. Did
you feel like a grown up at that moment? You're like,
yeah, it felt,
fix this thing.
Yeah, it felt, but I do not have stickers on anything I own anymore. Like not anywhere.
So I won't send you some stickers.
Yeah, don't. Please. Please don't. But magnets, love them. Because you always got stuff to hang on a fridge, right?
Yeah.
So, especially when you live alone. like, oh, that's so nice to see those people. Oh, they look happy. Those people look happy. Those people are so sweet.
Oh, look, a recipe that doesn't call for bread and hard-boiled egg.
Mozzarella stick.
Yeah. That's the key to any taco.
Hey, Rick, Nick and I have already had our emotional moment. Do you want to?
Oh, great.
Do you want to say anything? You want to close out the show?
Yeah, I'll be skipping that in post. absolutely cherish the fact that I even got connected with Nick. Like, we've been through so many things together. Like, I'm so in awe of just his creative ability and like sense of self, and just like he's just really an absolute delight to have in my life. And I'm really happy that we were able to get him on the show early, because we'll definitely be bringing him back, because we didn't even get to cover Walla Walla or Iceland or like any other important topics such as those. So, Nick, you know this. I want you to hear this. I love you dearly. I cherish having you in my life. You're just a fantastic person, and having the ability to share you with other people is always a pleasure for me. So thank you for taking the time to be with us. And I look forward to having you back, and, you know, maybe earning your 5 episode, 5-time Nike Dunks or whatever we're doing for our 5-time people.
Heck yeah.
So thank you.
Spike started cutting some onions over here, the cat did, and now my eyes hurt. So I thank you, Rick. And like, I honestly, where I am with my career is like, your hands are all over that. And like, hands off.
It's okay. It's consent. But I mean, you've guided me through a ton, and like, you've also, I mean, you've been there for some of my like darkest, worst times in my life, and you've all and the cat hears it.
Spike knows.
Yeah,
Spike knows darkness.
Hell yeah.
He is darkness. Yeah,
and I've always been grateful for you for that, and thank you. And yeah.
Rick is like, stop talking. No more.
I love you very much, and you've done a lot for me, and I hope to, you know, repay that in kind someday, somehow. So
you already have. So all right, Spike's getting too emotional.
Spike's
we're
done.
Spike's wound up, so we're gonna go ahead and close this out. You can tune in and subscribe, so you get to see Nick next time on all these things. And we're going to go ahead and kill the recording and spend a few more minutes sending Nick off, and we'll see you next time on Mildly
Interesting. You men are so emotional.
People. God. It is, yeah, totally.